Welcome to Springtime Green Time Yoga. Let's go ahead and come forward in our chairs a little bit. Peek down at your feet. Make sure that you're landing with your knees over your ankles, feet about hip distance apart. And before we do anything at all, let's give the shoulders a little roll out because there's a lot to be tense about. And it just feels good. And you can just kind of pay attention to the sounds that are happening. Mine are moderately crunchy. I'm going to blame this on a late night. Everything was delayed a couple of hours. Better late than never, though. All right, you can roll forward a few times. Good, and then let's roll back again. And then allow the shoulder blades to, your shoulder heads to press back, shoulder blades release down. They gently squeeze in towards each other. You're getting a little lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. So you're sitting nice and tall. The shoulders are balanced over your sit bones, which are pressing down into your chair. Feet pressed down into the floor. Inhale, lengthen through the sides of your waist. And then exhale, let's open the mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. Couple more times like that. Smooth, deep, full inhale, elongating through the sides of your waist. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Inhaling, fill up. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. And then seal your lips, allow your eyelids to close. Start to inhale through your nose. And then also exhale through your nose. So you start to find that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Your attention goes there. Everything else just drifts into the background. So sounds that are happening in the space that you're in, thoughts that are coming into your mind, as best as possible, you're letting all of that just become background noise. And your breath, that sound of your breath starts to come to the forefront. Allow it to be calming and soothing. Allow the breath to help you find some space inside your body. As you start to settle a little bit, as you start to let go of the day so far, maybe you begin to pay more attention to where you're physically at in space and how things are feeling. Are there any places where there's a little tension or tenderness? Are there places too where you feel a little more open, expansive? Getting curious about all of that. Inviting this idea of discovery into the practice today. Just another moment or two here. Good. On your next inhale, go ahead and blink your eyes open and do a little refresh of your posture if you need to. Readjust. Again, just peek down, make sure knees are over your ankles. And let's go ahead. Let's see, what do I want to do first here? So we're going to bring our fingertips to our shoulders. And then we're going to lift up, squeeze the elbows together, and then release down. So we're just making these nice circles. And here, kind of like when we were rolling the shoulders out, you're going to hear some clicks and crunches. Kind of just moving nice and slow and methodical. Of course, all of these postures are going to look a little different for each of us. So this one in particular, it's a great way to warm up the shoulders. But if you're a little tighter, if you're a little bulkier, circles are going to look a little different. That's okay. Good. And then let's start to go in the opposite direction, which is those elbows are leaning back. Feels really nice. It's a little bit of that cobra pose feeling. So nice back bend in the thoracic, the upper spine. You might feel a little tingling sensation in your shoulders, your upper arms. Let's just do a few more of these here. Good. One more. And then you can release the arms down. Just take a couple of breaths here. Classic mountain pose, little external rotation at the shoulder. So your palms are just gently spinning out. You're rooting down into your feet. Again, you're pressing into your sit bones with each inhale. You're lengthening. So it's like you're trying to grow a little taller here. And then one more time, let's go ahead and bring the fingertips to our shoulder heads. So you're going to keep the elbows lifted, and then you're just going to pretend that you're a little old school washing machine agitator. I suppose it's not necessarily old school. I think they still have those. And maybe you can channel a little of your inner agitator, because I think we all might need a little bit of that right now in the world we're in. Just saying. Sometimes you got to make some good trouble. All right, so start to slow this down a little bit. Come back to center. Then again, let's take the arms out and up. Ooh, my shoulders are definitely burning a little bit, feeling warm, which is good. So you just take a couple of breaths here. Show of hands, who gets a funny sound inside their body when they do that? I do. I don't know how to describe it, but it does something. Does anybody else feel a little weird doing the agitator move? It's just me. There's some glitch in my system. I also have this problem where when I choke on something, I immediately have to sneeze. And it's like It's not a good thing. It's hysterical. All right, so from here, hands come to your thighs, and we're gonna just move into our cat-cow here. So you're gonna inhale, rock forward on your sit bones. You're arching in your lumbar. As you exhale, you move in the opposite direction, chin drops towards chest. And then just finding your flow. So some days it feels good to move a little faster, particularly if you're feeling a little lethargic. Other days, if you're feeling somewhat anxious, overwhelmed, slowing the breath down can be really helpful. And that is just like a simple practice that you can do in life. You don't have to be on your yoga mat, but just know that your breath is this really, really powerful tool, and it can help regulate our emotional state if we just pause and kind of pay attention, slow things down, or speed things up. Just take a moment. As you're doing these cat-cows, I want you to really bring your attention to your spine. Notice with each of these postures, the cat posture and then the cow posture, where the movement is easier in each of these. And it's kind of opposite for both. And then notice the places that are a little tighter. And in fact, the next time you're coming into your cow posture, so you're leaning forward on your sit bones, shoulder heads are pressing back, you've got that arch in your lumbar. Stay here, continue to breathe evenly through your nose. But just notice how it's easy for most of us to get the movement, the flexibility goes to the lower back. Can you find a little more of that feeling in your upper spine? So it's going to feel like the back of your spine is going to press forward, kind of to that sternal notch there. Maybe you feel your shoulder blades squeeze in a little more. Are your shoulders starting to creep up around your ears? Can you soften them down? And there's even just a slight little lift of your chin here. Really nice. So we're going to exhale, go in the opposite direction. And you're going to notice that it's much easier here to find this rounding sensation in the thoracic, the upper spine. And the fact that we spend a lot of time on our phones and our computers helps to accentuate this. Can you find more of that rounding in your lower back? So it's like your belly button is pressing back towards your spine. It's like you're trying to squeeze in so you can get that tight pair of jeans on. Some might argue, like, why are you wearing those jeans if you have to squeeze in that much? But just, work with me here. All right, let's inhale back up to a nice tall spine. Release your arms down by your sides, and then we're gonna warm up like the side body here, so a little lateral stretching. So inhale, left arm comes up and over. And exhale, we release down. Inhale, right arm up and over. Good, exhale, release. And then just continuing again at your pace. If you want to speed this up a little bit, you're welcome to. You want to just be sort of lackadaisical about it. That can also feel really nice. Do a little mini check-in with your breath here. You're still inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. All right, so the next time you're leaning off to the right, let's hang out there. Root more into your left sit bone as you extend through those left fingertips. And then it feels like there's a little rolling of these right ribs up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're starting to gaze up underneath that top arm. And then from here, let's actually start to roll to the left. Extend out, roll to the right, your left side to the right. Reach out through those left fingertips a little more. And then just kind of do a little hang forward here. And then you're going to slowly begin to roll up on an inhale, one vertebra at a time. Inhale, right arm reaches up and over. So you find the side stretch as you anchor into your right sit bone. You can find more length through this right side. You're extending through those left fingertips. You're feeling, I'm very backwards today. Your right fingertips, left shoulder blade is releasing down your back. Just when you think you've mastered the art of talking backwards, your brain forgets. Good, so keep this sense of extension, but start to wrap your right ribs towards that left thigh. So it's like a little extension and twist at the same time. And then you're gonna just slowly fold on down, rotate to the center. And then as you inhale, roll on up. Really nice. So let's just put that together a few times. We're going to move it pretty slow, but it'll kind of be like a side stretch, little vinyasa here. So inhale, left arm up and over, and then exhale, slowly unwind, come to center. Inhaling, rolling up. One vertebra at a time. Take an exhale here. Beautiful. Inhale, right arm up and over. And then exhale, find that sense of twist as you sweep on down, coming to the center. Inhaling, come on up. Good. Take an exhale. Inhale. Left arm up and over. And you just flow this off to the right, finding that twist and forward fold on the exhale. Inhale. Roll on up. Take an exhale here. Good. Inhale, right arm up and over. Find that twist. Extend, 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 even as you're folding in. Inhaling, coming up to center. Take an exhale here. Okay, so we're going to add on here. I don't know if this is going to work. I'm making it up as I go today. Well, let's go ahead and inhale. Take that left arm up and over. All right, so you're going to exhale, twist to the right, come to center, but then inhale, start to extend that right arm off to the left. And then let's lift this left arm up. Beautiful. Okay, and then we're going to exhale, side bend to the left. Start to sweep on down to the center. Extend this left arm up and over. Coming back up to center. So let's do one more in that direction. So exhale, side bend to the left. Keep on folding in. Good, and then you're gonna extend that left arm off to the right and start to inhale up. All right, so now we got to go to the other side a couple of times. So exhale, side bend to the right. And then continue that exhale so they're nice and slow. We're stretching them out. And then reaching right arm off to the left. Good. Extending this top arm up. One more time. Exhale. All the way down. And then start to reach through that right arm. Lovely. It kind of works. It kind of feels good. It's a little reminiscent of our Sufi rolls. Let's do some of those. But it's nice because you're getting the upper body involved a little more. And you can just be paying attention to how your hips feel here as you do this. As Shakira says, the hips don't lie. I had an Iyengar teacher who always liked to say that. He was very funny. He was very serious. That was part of his shtick, but he was also quite on top of all things like pop culture. So he'd weave these crazy things into class as you had just spent way too much time holding a warrior two. All right. We're going to switch directions. His nickname for me was Benjamin Bratt. As in his humble estimation, I had a bratty body. I don't know what that means exactly, but it was funny. Funny enough. Good. Let's start to come back to center here. Finding your nice Tadasana mountain pose. Let's actually, do you know what? Let's keep our hands on our thighs and let's do a little neck work here. I think it just doesn't feel like yoga if we're not stretching into the neck a little bit. It's kind of like yoga vitamins. You need to do it every time you show up for your practice. So as you exhale, go ahead and drop your chin towards your chest. We have done a lot to warm up the shoulders here. So hopefully this is feeling a little easier at this stage of the game than it might otherwise feel sometimes when we're not quite as warm. We're looking to really lengthen in the back of the neck as that chin releases any amount towards your chest. And again, you're just keeping your breath smooth and gentle. You're paying attention to sensations happening in your body. The good sensations, the bad sensations, just noticing. It's such a skill to be able to do that. All right, let's keep our chin tucked. Take several breaths to rotate your right ear towards your right shoulder. When you get to those places that feel interesting, hang out. Take a few breaths. And then as you release both shoulder blades down, as you're tilting that right ear towards your right shoulder, if you wanted to release your left fingertips towards the floor, you could also do that. That might intensify things. And you can always, try variation out. If it's not working, you just go back to where you were. You modify somehow. We do all of these poses a lot. We've done them hundreds of times. Some weeks they feel really good, some weeks they don't. So just because A pose happened a couple days ago doesn't mean that it's going to happen today or in the same way. If you'd like to lift that left arm a little bit, that's always a hurt so good for me. It definitely gets into some places that we don't really stretch into that often. And then, so if you're doing this variation, go ahead and just spin your palm up towards the ceiling, that left palm. Maybe release your right fingertips down. And just imagine that there's a weight attached to that right wrist. So you're getting a little heavier. And then we're back in our side bend. So you take that left arm up and over, but maybe it's feeling a little deeper. Maybe it's feeling like you have more space on this left side. Maybe you start to turn your gaze up underneath that top arm. If it doesn't feel good in your neck to do that, you don't. So one final piece here, if you wanted a little oblique work, you can reach that right arm out and you can just imagine that you're squeezing a beach ball here. Think outer hip squeezing in. Inhale up to center. Lovely. As you exhale, release your hands down. Nice deep inhale here. And return your hands to your thighs and then exhale, chin drops towards chest again. Shoulders, shoulder blades releasing down. Breath smooth and steady. We have that inhale through our nose and that exhale through our nose. Finding that space in the back of your neck. And then moving nice and slow, keep that chin tucked. Keep breathing, but begin to dip that left ear towards your left shoulder. And when you get to those spots where you're feeling some sensation, just sit there, simmer in it a little bit. Even if it's slightly uncomfortable, really nice work. Shoulder blades releasing down. If you wanted to release those right fingertips towards the floor, you could just, again, just imagine that there is a weight attached to that wrist. It might intensify the stretch a little bit. Finally, you might start to lift that arm up. Ooh. So you're kind of feeling that stretch on the inseam, the underside of the arm, the armpit area, armpit chest. And then perhaps you start to rotate your palm, right palm up towards the ceiling. We have this shape of that side bend. Take that top arm up and over. Really nice. Spinning those left ribs up towards the ceiling, maybe gazing up underneath that top arm. Still a sense of anchoring into that right sit bone. These look beautiful. And then you can release those left fingers down towards the floor, and then perhaps extend that arm out. And you're definitely going to be feeling like a little side crunch here in that right side. It's like it hurts so good. Keep outer hip squeezing in. Keep squeezing that imaginary beach ball with your hands. And then we inhale. Come up to center. Exhaling. We release the hands down. All right, so let's do some warrior poses here. We'll turn that into a little bit of flow. And we're gonna start on our right side. So as you know, you can always just keep your legs in mountain pose. That absolutely works. If you would like to, open up this right hip, any amount. We're gonna do warrior 2 and warrior 1 here. So maybe you're not going quite as wide as you might be able to. But definitely find a little hip opening. We do want to land with our knee over our ankle. You can keep this left knee bent exactly as it is. You might extend that leg too straight. You might even open up that left leg. If you're doing that though, you're pressing to the inner edge. We're going to kind of let this left hip release forward. So we're going to find our warrior 1 here. So classically, it's more of a hips neutral pose. So they're both moving towards facing in the same direction. So, and you could kind of just think of your sternum out over that or in line with your right knee. Let's inhale, reach the arms up, and then let's hook a thumb. So, and then you can reach your arms up and then just kind of pull the thumbs apart. And that's a really nice way to stretch into the upper arms, the shoulders as well. Can you just visualize this left hip kind of rolling forward? You're getting that internal rotation in that left thigh. Perhaps you start to lift your gaze up, assuming that that feels okay in your neck. You feel that little lift of your sternum. So it's that kind of cobra pose feeling in your upper body. All right, so as we exhale, go ahead and just release your thumbs and then exhale, palms come to heart center. So we're finding a little warrior flow here. You're going to square your torso to face forward. So now this back leg is neutral, but we're getting the hip opening in the front leg. Stretch the arms out. Can you firm muscle to bone in your arms? Can you keep those shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other and releasing down? Bring your gaze out over your right fingertips. Gaze is soft and gentle, but it's steady. So these warrior poses, they're lovely, they're strong poses, they're almost like power poses. You're into that sort of thing. They help us to harness our inner strength. They help us to find our intestinal fortitude. Let's go ahead and spin this right palm up to face the ceiling, and we're going to find our reverse warrior. So this is another side bend here. We're going to inhale, take that right arm up and over. You can just let your left fingertips release down towards the floor. They could be resting on that block. You could even do a little half wrap here if that feels good. That can be kind of nice if you want to get into that left shoulder a little bit and kind of press it back. Are you breathing? So just reconnect with that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. If you're in the wrap, let's go ahead and release it. And this is your choice. If you would like to play with that little oblique core work, you're welcome to do that. So outer hip squeeze in, belly pulls in as you inhale. Really nice. As you exhale, find that Virabhadrasana 2 again. And then let's come into our extended side angle pose. So you're gonna reach, reach, reach as you bend at that right hip crease. Right forearm can come to that right thigh. And then you're gonna take that top arm up and over. So you've got this long line of energy through that left side of your body. Can you start to spin your right ribs up towards the ceiling a little bit? As you're doing that, can you keep both shoulders out of your ears? So it's a little juggling act for sure. So this extended side angle pose, Parsvakonasana, also really strong, challenging pose. So if you're really feeling a lot of sauce here, can you keep lengthening through this right side? Maybe reach that right arm up. You could skip this. I would encourage that because it's challenging. Inhale up to center. So nice. As you exhale, you release those arms down, and they were up for a while. So let's give the shoulders a roll out. Beautiful work, everybody. And we're going to take that sequence to the second side, which could look a little different. So go ahead and pull this left leg in and bring that right leg back to center. So before we do anything, let's just find this nice ground zero, this mountain pose, this Tadasana. This is like the blueprint pose of all of the poses that we do. There's a little Tadasana in everything. You might stay here for this side. You might find a little hip opening here. And you're just going to kind of gauge how far you're going to go with that. Perhaps you extend that right leg forward. And if you feel stable and steady and you want to open up that back leg a little more, you can do that. I'm going to stay with this variation on this side just to play with it a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna spin our torso to face towards that left knee. And you're kind of, it might not get all the way there, but you can kind of think like your sternum pointing towards your knee. And then let's inhale, reach the arms up. So we're finding our Virabhadrasana 1, arms reaching up, hips neutral. And you can just visualize this right hip kind of dragging forward. Hook your thumbs, and then if that felt like normal to do the way you just did, go the other way. So try to find the way that feels a little awkward. If you end up hooking the same thumb in front twice, it's going to be okay. It's just going to be okay. But if you can remember, it will also be okay to do the other one in front. And then just give the thumbs a little tug. That helps to activate the shoulders. It might help you to find a little more lift of your sternum. Maybe you're tilting your gaze up. Feeling really strong here in this Virabhadrasana 1. Unhook your thumbs. Press your palms together. Firm muscle to bone in your arms as you exhale. Hands come to heart center, and we make this transition into our Virabhadrasana 2. So you start to square your torso to face forward, and then take the arms out wide. So wrists are in line with shoulders. You start to bring your gaze out over your left fingertips. Your breath is smooth and steady. Your gaze is steady. It's soft and gentle. You feel really focused, really calm here, and certainly really strong. Spinning your left palm up towards the ceiling, we start to find that side bend. So leaning off to the right, left arm up and over. We have been here in the upper body for sure. The configuration is a little different in our lower body as we come into this reverse warrior. How long can you get on that left side? Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. So there's this gentle twist as you wrap these right ribs up. Again, you might even be playing with the wrap here. If you're doing that, you can press the back of that right hand into your spine, and that might help you to press your right shoulder back. Breath. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. If you are in that wrap, go ahead and release. And if you want a little extra spice here, inhale up. And then we're going to exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Exhale, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen through that left side. Feel that side stretch. And you're getting a nice lower back stretch here. And then this right arm reaches up and over, trying to release those shoulders out of your ears. So you're finding some space, even on this left side. It's a little harder to lengthen there, but it feels kind of nice when you do. And perhaps you're gazing up underneath that top arm. Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. And then finally, you could stay here like this. If you want a little more spice still, because it hasn't been spicy enough, reach that left arm over. Keep the outer hip squeezing in, the lower belly squeezing in as you come on up. And then exhale, release down. Again, you're probably feeling a little burn in your arms. You're welcome. Go ahead and bring that right leg back in. Left leg comes to center. Find your Tadasana, your mountain pose, and just notice how you're feeling. So those warrior poses are strong, they're invigorating. Also great poses to do if you need a little pick-me-up, a little energy. So from here, let's transition into some breath work. Let's do our Viloma I breath, and we might even move into Viloma II as well. We'll see. But we're going to do our 3-part breath. So make sure that you feel nice and comfortable, that you're sitting tall. You can allow your eyes to close. Let's all take a nice deep inhale here together. Full complete exhale. Empty out entirely. You might even pull your lower belly in and up, squeezing all of that air out. And then inhale 1/3 of the way up. So about to your belly button, and pause the breath. Inhale another 1/3 of the way up. So those lower floating ribs, pause the breath. Inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones. Feel that little lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. And exhale the air out through your nose. Couple recovery breaths when you get to the bottom. For those of you joining on YouTube, if this Viloma I breath is new to you, if it feels challenging or difficult, you are welcome to just skip it, to just breathe quietly. Certainly, if you ever feel like you need to breathe during one of those pauses, please do. And just know that some days, just like all of our poses, sometimes the breath work feels really easy. It just drops into place, and some days it doesn't. I certainly experienced that in my yoga practice. All right, so here we go. Deep inhale together. Full complete exhale through your nose. Empty out a little pause at the bottom. Inhale 1/3 of the way up. Pause. Inhale another 1/3 of the way up. Pause the breath. Inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones. Pausing, that lift of your sternum. Can you hold on to that lift of your sternum even as you're exhaling the air out through your nose, emptying out? Couple rounds of breath. So in this Viloma I, when we're holding the breath on the inhales, this has a more of an invigorating quality on the nervous system. Let's do one more round of this. So smooth, deep, full inhale through your nose. Full, complete exhale. Empty out, little pause at the bottom. Inhale 1/3 of the way up. Inhale another 1/3 of the way up. Inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones. And then slowly exhale the air out through your nose. And I think we're just going to stick at our Viloma I today. Let's start to transition into a quiet resting pose. So Shavasana. You are welcome to change your posture here if that feels good to you. Sometimes folding forward, resting your forehead on a chair, wall in front of you can feel nice. You're always welcome to come into classic Shavasana. So corpse pose, laying down on the floor if that's available to you. It also works to just stay exactly where you're at, but you're changing the feeling tone in your body. We're letting go of efforting. And instead we're inviting in this idea of surrender and assimilation. So we're asking our body and our brain to kind of put together all of the work that we've been doing together this past hour. We're creating this transition from being active as we move into the rest of our day ahead, whatever that might look like for each of us. And then we're also just taking another opportunity, much as we paused at the beginning of the class to check in, to be still. We're doing that again at the end of the class. And you're observing how you feel differently. Physically, mentally, emotionally. What feels different in your body now from how you started? What feels different in your headspace now from when we started? And then we're just going to be here, soaking all of this up for the next several moments. Shavasana. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Let your next inhale be deeper. You can open your mouth sigh, the breath out, let it go, ha. And then just invite some gentle movement back into your body. It's going to look different for all of us. Yawn, stretch, wiggle, shake, whatever you need. We'll eventually just come back to that mountain pose, but landing with your palms in a pile on top of your heart. Send yourself love, send yourself gratitude, your body love and gratitude. We send each other love and gratitude. We thank each other for this community, for the support. And finally, just promise yourself you're going to carry a little of this good feeling with you into the rest of the evening, the rest of the week ahead. Finally, just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today, everybody. Thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me. Go enjoy spring out there.